Alright, so today we're making a homemade, like a hamburger mac, or sort of like the hamburger helper meals, but from scratch. But anyway, you're gonna need some onion, some elbow macaroni, and your choice of seasonings. Then you need a pound of ground beef and your Instant Pot. So what I'm going to start off doing is browning. Well, actually, I'm going to saute our onions and start to build our flavors. So I've already have the Instant Pot on the saute mode, and there's a little bit of olive oil in there that's coming up to temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and add the onions, and you just saute your onions until they turn translucent in color. And then, of course, I'm going to add the ground beef in there as well so I can get up some of that. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and add a little bit of seasoning to the onion. And you just want to continue sauteing it, of course, and keep it moving. All right, so here I'm going to add a little bit of the pink Himalayan salt and a little bit of peppercorn, or not black pepper. I don't know what you would call it. It's just pepper. We just continue to let that saute. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to add my ground beef. It's about a pound that I'm adding into there. And just drop that right on in there. And you're going to go ahead and start to break up that meat so you can go ahead and get it brown. You can't tell from this particular angle, but it was a little still frozen, even though I had it in the refrigerator earlier that morning. But it's okay. The Instant Pot will brown it regardless. So you just take your time and break down the meat and just brown it like you normally would. We're going to go ahead and change the angle here. Alright, so as you can see, I am continuing to break down the meat to go ahead and brown it. So we're going to go ahead and add our seasonings now. Start off with a little bit of large seasoned salt. Okay, and then here I have some Italian seasoning that I'm using. I believe that's oregano. I'm sorry, you guys. I was a little off on my little camera. That's fine. But now I think that's where I have a little bit of oregano here. So I'm like a little bit of heat. So now we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of cayenne pepper, just a few dashes of that. And go ahead and just start stirring and breaking down that little frozen chunk of meat as well. Put this meat down and just kind of turn the meat thoroughly so that all the seasonings get throughout the meat. What I really love about the Instant Pot is that this is going to be all in one pot, so you only have to clean this one pot when you're done. So that's the great thing about this. And it's quick and easy. So, you coming home from work and you need to whip up a quick meal, then yeah, you can do it really quick. So we're going to continue to let this brown. I'm going to add a couple of bay leaves to this. And then a little bit of garlic salt. And I'm going to add about a heaping tablespoon of actual minced garlic. And of course, you just continue to brown the meat with all of your seasoning. See, I still got that little frozen chunk there. So it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be just fine, guys. But you just continue browning the meat, of course. I wish you guys could smell it. Look at the smell. So good. So while this continues to brown, I'm gonna go ahead and break down the meat and come back. Alright, so I have gotten that little frozen chunk to completely disintegrate, and all of my meat is brown here. So now it is time to go ahead and proceed with our next step. So I'm going to go ahead and look at things a little bit more, but I'm going to get my sauce. Now, the sauce, you guys, you can use any brand that you prefer. I like the Rayo's because it just seems to always be really good. But anyway, you're going to add 1 jar of your favorite spaghetti sauce. And again, mine just happens to be Rayo's, and it's the mushroom sauce as well. Absolutely love it. You guys have to try it. It's really expensive, but it's really good. If I don't use Rayo's, I tend to like the Hunt's in the can, I know, but it's Hunt and it's really good. It actually is inexpensive, so it's really, really cheap. So if you don't want to do Rayo's because it's too expensive, try one of the Hunts. Okay, so once you add your jar of sauce, then you want to fill up the jar with water and pour that in there in its entirety. Then you're going to fill up the jar again and you're going to pour about half of it in there. The thing is, once you add your noodles, you just want the water to just cover them. And just trust me, trust the process. I know you're like, well, damn, that's going to be very watery. Well, no, it's not. Just give it a second. Or give me a moment and you'll see. To see here, I'm looking to kind of see how much water I got in there. It looks like I have enough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up my elbow macaroni, and you're going to pour most, if not all, of it in there. I think that's a whole pound, but I didn't pour a whole pound. It's just 5 of it. Just a quick stir, so all of the noodles are in contact with the liquid. So I'm looking here, I'm like, yeah, that's not enough. And I just about used the whole box, just about. I think maybe if I poured another whole jar in there, I would have been able to cook all of the noodles, but I didn't want that. Noodles, too many noodles. And I'm just gonna go ahead and salt it a little bit more, only because the noodles are in there. And then at this point, we go ahead and add our lid, and we're going to go ahead and pressure cook it. So let's go ahead and do that. So you're gonna go ahead and go into your pressure cook mode here. And I just do a custom. I don't use any of the presets for my one pot meal. That's just my preference. But I've heard people use rice or some setting like that, and that's cool. That may work, but I just like the manual setting. So I initially put this at 12 minutes. But one thing I have to realize is that the Instant Pot does still have to come back up to temperature to create pressure. So I eventually did just decide to drop it down to 8 minutes because I don't want to overcook the noodles. So You see here, it's coming up to pressure, and eventually that little pin will rise and lock the lid. And there we go. It's coming to pressure there. All right, so now it is fully pressurized, and so what it will do is just beep and start the actual cooking process. So 8 minutes has gone by, and we're gonna go ahead and release the pressure, a quick release. You could do a natural release, but that may tend to have your noodles be a little softer past al dente. So I just recommend just doing a quick release. So that's just going to let all of the steam escape, and once the pin drops, we'll be able to take the lid off the Instant Pot. And your time may vary on how long it takes to release the steam, depending on your model. So just be patient. They'll drop eventually. Alright, so we'll come back when it's ready. Alright, so the pin has dropped. Let's go ahead and reveal our meal. Okay, as you can see here, just give it a quick stir because you got to loosen all your little noodles and get them in there to sup up some of that sauce. But as you can see, it's ready. So if you want to take this up a notch, you can add sour cream and add your favorite shredded cheese to it, and then you will have a cheesy version, which is really good, by the way. So you definitely can add that. But the first day, I typically will just eat it as is, and then like the next day, if I want to, I'll just add sour cream and sugar to it. But I really, really like it just as it is. It's really, really good. All right, you guys. So that is my one pot hamburger mac meal, or I don't know what you want to call it. It's not. You could do spaghetti exactly the same way. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will be uploading more videos pretty soon. All right, you have a good guys. Have a good day.